You're like,
You can
you're
record
like,
it if you
you're
want
like,
to.
so
I'm starting to feel a little
been
drink
married.
right now.
I've been married for 15 years,
Yeah,
but
this
this
one's
is the reason
called
why.
the French Tickler. No, I did this when I was back in seventh grade,
Fuck did you
and
do?
being a poor kid,
You
you know,
did.
in LA, on the county
Right.
or whatnot, like I never had any rehab for it, and so it was fucked up, obviously pretty bad, and did surgery. I broke both of these at the same time, so crushed them
God
with a
damn.
10-pound weight.
A
Uh,
10-pounder did that?
yeah, it fell from about this high off a table. Like I fell off a table. There was a table in my one of my friend's garage, and we went in there. You know, young seventh grade kids trying to get buff and shit. I'm trying to hang out with the older kids, my older brothers and whatnot, and um,
The
they went
fuck
in
were
there
you
to
doing
lift
on the
weights.
table with the 10-pound weight?
We went in. I wasn't on the table. We went into his garage where he had weights and whatnot, and there was a table next to the bench, and I went to sit on the table. I didn't know the table was broken, so when I sat on the tabletop fell, and when the tabletop fell, I fell with it, and the table and the
Braced yourself.
10-pound weight smashed my fingers and
You
crushed
never
this
went
one
to the
at the
doctor?
tip. No, I did. I had surgery on it. I was in the hospital for 5 days for these two fingers.
So why does it look like you're Gandalf now from Lord of the Rings?
Because when they repaired it, I broke this one at the tip. At the time, I didn't know this one was broken here, but this one was broken because this part of my finger was down here and this part was up.
Jesus, good Lord.
And so when they went in to fix it, I don't know. I didn't have any rehab or anything like that, so that's partially why. And I think the other part that happened is I don't know if I wore a splint like I was
Were you
supposed to,
supposed to keep it
as long as I
immobilized?
was
Yeah.
supposed to. And so now it's called a mallet finger with a swan neck deformity, right? So it's got the little here
Do you
because the
think you
ligaments
could,
are on the wrong side.
do you feel like now you could, without any extra help, climb the side of a building?
Shut the fuck up. No, I cannot.
I got untold Chicago stories carved in the cold. I ain't write fairy tales, I survive what I wrote. From crack course to the corner, same weight in my chest, same hunger in my gut, same test after test. I wake up before sunrise to work in the dark. City never saved me, it sharpened my heart. They threw me the ball, then they watched me decide. Either fold under pressure or stand up and rise. I kept it quiet, held it in my chest, played my role, passed every test. No favors called, no handouts given, just me and pressure. That's how I lived it. I ain't tell it then, but I'll tell it now. Every scar still show me how. When the drums come in, I don't hide. I say it loud, I say it proud. Untold Chicago stories written in the cold. Untold Chicago stories, heavy on my soul. From the block to the bright lights, I wore it all. If it didn't break me down, it made me whole. Untold Chicago stories, sweat scars. Untold Chicago stories.
Welcome to Untold Chicago. I'm Colin. This is Rashied Davis. What's up, Sheed?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you
feeling?
doing?
Man, good to see you.
Good. Life is good.
We appreciate you coming out. and
Okay.
in the honor of Untold Chicago and the stories you're about to tell, we'll do a little toe.
Yes, sir.
Man, before we get into your past, Rashied, which is amazing, let's go down the list of some of your stats. You were with the Bears.
I'm sitting good, right? You
2005.
got me over there. You got me. I'm good. All right, let's go.
You were with the Bears 2005, 2011,
Mm-hmm.
right? Played for the Lions too, but impressive stats with the Bears: 11.9 yards per catch, which is somewhat like Madden numbers.
No, it's
Targeted 182 times, receiving yards 1,095. Lovey was your coach that entire time. Who's your quarterback?
I had several quarterbacks during my time with the Bears. Most of my time was spent on special teams, right? But I was in Detroit in 2011. Just slight correction. I was here from 2005 to 2010.
10, and then
in
went to
Detroit in 2011, and back here in 2012 when I retired. Quarterbacks, Rex Grossman, one of my favorite human beings, favorite quarterbacks to play with. Just a good, overall cool dude. Kyle Orton, I love playing with Kyle. Played with Jay Cutler as well. And when I was in Detroit, it was Matthew Stafford. I think his second or third year.
Stafford can play, but let me go back to something you just mentioned right there, because there's a lot of opinions, feelings,
Mhm.
unknowns when people hear the name Jay Cutler.
Mhm.
First of all, how do you feel about Jay Cutler? The man can throw the ball, but what was the Cutler relationship like? People think he's standoffish. What's he like?
Um, I mean, our relationship was okay, for a while. I don't have anything against him, whatnot. He's a tremendous talent,
Yeah,
athletically.
yeah,
But he is what you see on his social media and TV and podcasts or whatever else. Like he's exactly that guy. So
right.
I'll give him that 100% credit. That's who he is. He's not a different person in front of anybody.
What you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get with him.
We'll jump into your past, which is incredibly interesting. But a quick question. First of all, there's been some blowback from the Bears playoff run. There's been some
Mhm.
blowback with how that ended.
Mhm.
Some people were
I
getting
don't
blamed.
understand that, but go
Some people
ahead.
were getting blamed. I don't have an opinion. That's not my job to have an
Yeah, yeah,
opinion. But
yeah.
there's an individual blame that I happen to know is your favorite player. So
DJ.
so DJ Moore.
Oh,
People
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
so talk about not talk about, but I know you like that guy. But what you want to keep him in Chicago? How do you feel about that play? How do you feel about his effort this season? And should we keep him?
Personally, I think they don't make it as far as they made it without DJ.
Mhm.
I think he was their most productive receiver, and he was their most durable. And everybody that plays sports knows the best ability is availability,
Yeah.
and he was the most available. So I think, as you know, there's a lot of money. He's making a lot of money, and they drafted several young guys, right,
Hmm.
over the last few years, all pass catchers, right. They got Luther Burden, they have Rome Odunze, they have Cole Kmet, as well as the new guy, right, Colson Loveland.
Loveland. Yeah.
Colson Loveland, right. So there's only so much money that can go around, and it's just my opinion from the outside looking in that he wasn't targeted enough and he wasn't used to the best of his ability. He was used to the best of the way the team wanted to use him. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Putting him in the backfield and
Hmm.
whatnot, trying to get some usage out of him, but not using him in ways that he's been accustomed to being used, and used him in ways. Um, I think he was just used in ways to benefit the team to the best of what they wanted to do with him, and to some degree, probably to justify moving on from him and get the other guys ready. And from a business standpoint, I don't disagree
Right.
with what happened, but to blame him and say that he's not a team guy, and to say that he's not he's lazy, or to try to paint him as this uh the reason why they lost that game, or whatever reason people want to come up with, and to say he gives up on routes and all of this other stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe, you know, that has happened in the past, but you also have to factor in, well, tell the story from his point of view as well. And I don't think everybody is willing to do that part. They put everything on the weight of the player,
Yeah.
and not any weight on the coaches and management and all of this other stuff. And that to me, what makes me want to come to his defense, and sort of give a backstory in that sense. But the particular play, I do believe it was DJ's fault, knowing that
Right.
I'm a DJ fan. I like
Yeah.
DJ. I think he's a great player, and if used properly in the way that he's been used in the past, he would have produced a whole lot more than he produced this year. Um,
And
the
I
particular
know you
play
have
in
access,
yeah,
so you're
well,
able to see him practice. You're able to see the way he runs routes, and you don't
yes.
see any of the stuff that people are claiming.
No, I won't say I don't.
Okay.
I just have different a viewpoint on why some of this stuff probably happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
there's each one of us wants to be wanted, right? Each one of us wants to feel appreciated and given an opportunity to do what they do best. And this is me just putting words in DJ's mouth, and defending DJ, because I could be dead wrong and not know, because I'm not in the room, so I can't sit here and act like I'm in the room watching video and everything like that. But I think a lot of people do that, though. They armchair quarterback, and
Yeah.
um they act like they're in film study and they know exactly what happened. And I can tell you what I think happened on the particular play in question. I think DJ was supposed to go underneath that safety
Right.
as opposed to going on top. What I can say is I don't know what I can say is I don't know what he's been coached
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
You know, but I can just speak from my experience on that particular route, a deep over route off after play action. We want to that the quarterback, what I've learned in the past and where we wanted to be was in between the hashes and the numbers, 18 to 20 yards down the field. That's where we wanted to be. If the safety was on top, we went underneath.
Right.
But there are schools of thought where it's a read for the receiver.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's not so rigid to be flat at the top. It's if the safety's down here, go here. If the safety's up here, go here. There's reads that are made. And to some degree, I don't know. So, but
Right.
I'm still sticking with what I think is most likely the case, which is, Occam razor. Really, right? What does Occam razor mean? Is the simplest answer is the right answer, right? The simplest answer is he should have gone underneath.
Right.
He should have kept running. He should have ran through the play. Another thing that I could assume too, and this is also DJ's fault if this happened, is assuming that he wasn't open and Caleb shouldn't throw this. Right? That safety's sitting right there the whole time. Mm-hmm. And him like, don't throw this. You shouldn't throw this. If you throw this, you're crazy. Right? Like, but
right. It's easier.
Again, that's still his fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, because as a receiver, at least the way that I played the game and the way that I coached the game, I'm a volunteer coach at a high school near where I live.
Right.
Because I need that for my sanity, right? But there are sacrifices that each player has to make. As a receiver, there are some times where you got to take a hit for your quarterback because your quarterback is taking a hit to deliver the ball to you a lot of the time. He's getting beat up in the backfield and whatnot. Running backs are running up and smacking linebackers and D linemen that are twice their size. Like, everybody makes sacrifices. And so you always want to put yourself, if at all possible, between the defender and the quarterback, right? So that you can cut the ball off. And if the case was, I'm not open,
right?
If I'm not open, I still got to get there because why? If the quarterback does throw this, he can't pick it. You know what I mean? That safety can't pick it. Or it's harder for him to pick it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe he goes to, instead of intercepted, he goes to not, he goes to hit me, in which case I got to take the punishment.
Well, I think a lot of our listeners want to hear your take on that. Being a former receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that the directive is on this play I have to run, just as you were explaining, 18 to 20 yards, et cetera, like that. But when it breaks down and the quarterback starts to scramble, then
then there's scramble rules.
So it's like we don't know what was in Caleb's head. We don't know what was in DJ's head. So while fans are, they have opinions, it's hard to really, I see what they're saying, but at the same time, is it DJ's fault?
Yeah, I do. Part of those two, my two answers as to what logically happened is, I think it's DJ's fault.
Right.
And even if the quarterback is scrambling, that he wasn't scrambling at that point, if I'm not mistaken. He was just rolling out, and he was delivering the ball. He probably went from, I don't remember the exact play, but how I understand, like, play action plays and whatnot, I'm assuming there was a receiver on the right side who went deep and tried to pull those guys out of there, and he was coming from the backside. He was probably the third read, right? You know what I mean? They had a guy in the flat who DJ didn't throw to, and so it was a high-low read. And if there was a guy on the front side running a deep route, whether it's an angle corner or a straight-up 9 route, a go route, he probably read that high to low, came out of the play action, looked deep. Is the deep route there from the front side? If not, come right back down to this flat right here, or throw this backside to number 3, right? And so how I remember the play in my head, and Caleb came out, and whatever the first 2 weren't there, number 3 coming from the backside, he should be there. Right. And then we're asking quarterbacks, at least at most levels, you're asking the quarterback to throw the ball blind, right?
Yeah.
Just
Throw it to a
trust
spot.
you.
Throw
And
it to a
so one
spot.
of the things that I learned from Mike Martz as a player, the first time I ever heard it put this way, and I use it this way to this day, is as a receiver, my job is to be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there and never fool the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you do those things, you're a trustworthy player, right? And so it's my job to get to where I'm supposed to be. No matter how I get there, I got to get there, and I got to be there on time, no matter what the defense throws at me. And so one of the best, to that point, one of the biggest compliments that I've ever gotten from anyone was from Rex Grossman, which
Okay.
was, I'm not a very big guy. I don't know if y'all can see this, right? 5'9" and 3/4, you know what I mean? And so there were times, especially during that Super Bowl run, when I was getting a lot more run at receiver and less on special teams, where he would throw the ball and I'd come back and, we'd kind of talk about it, and he was like, Sheed, I didn't see you. I just threw it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
for me, shows a level of trust that I trust you to be where you're supposed to be, and so that happened a lot during that time, like Rex and I's time together. And so when he said that to me, like to this day, like I feel good about what I was able to provide for
Absolutely.
the team that I played for.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the thing that I
And there's one thing
live with
that
and
I
love with.
forgot to mention when we were talking about Rashied's stats, and Rashied did play in a Super Bowl.
I did play in the Super Bowl. I had hair back then. Lots of it. If you can't tell, I don't have any right now.
You still, hey, that happens to the best. We're almost the
not
same
you,
obviously.
You guys,
I mean,
you still have as much hair as you had when I first met you. So I'm a little jealous there.
That was a long time ago. And to let you guys know, Rashied and I have been friends for the better part of 15 to 20 years. Friends that work together. A lot of our guests, friends with. We've been friends for a long time. So not just some random guy on here asking questions. And we'll dive into everything about Rashied, but I do have one more question about former teammates.
Yeah.
So nobody needs to be named. There are some individuals on that team, and I've heard some rumblings from other guys that are on that team that they no longer want to relate to certain people. They don't like to talk to certain people. We don't need to discuss why. Certain people have certain views. Certain people have certain opinions. This individual may or may not be a Hall of Famer. I'm not sure. You guys can look it up. There's certain cats that have prominent opinions about things going on in this country. How do you, as a former teammate, as somebody you went to war with, and seeing that kind of that flip, that change of what you might have believed said person was or believed, not only how does that come across to you, but how do you relate to that person now? I know you have to see them at games. You have to say,
I mean, there's a lot of people in my life that I don't associate with anymore since certain things happened several years ago.
Right.
Everybody has their life and their journey to walk. You know what I mean? And I trust people to be who they are. And I think DMX said it well, but I trust in the fact that I can see them well.
Yeah, no. He
you know what I mean? I think he said it like that. And so for me, I learned this as a player. A coach once said this to me, like, what was my coach's name in Detroit?
Was it Martz in Detroit?
No, receiver coach.
Okay.
He still coaches in the league right now, but anyway, I'm blanking on his name right now. But he once said this when we went to the group, and he was like, I don't believe anything that comes, just so you guys know, I don't believe anything that comes out of you guys' mouth. I believe what I see on tape. That's who you are. You know what I mean? Like, that's who you are. So I believe people when they show me who they are. And I don't try to apologize for them. I don't try to put words in their mouth to try to figure out, oh, he did this because of that and he said that because of that. I don't care. It's not.
Right.
That's who you are. Whether I want to associate with it at that point, then that's up to me and my decision. So I'll just leave it there.
For sure. You were a smaller guy in high school, not the smallest. But
I was the smallest guy in probably high school. Shit. I was tiny in high school, man.
You didn't play any football really. You were on the team. You
Yeah.
didn't get to play that much, but talk about a little bit. How when you went to West LA Junior College, how that
Mhm.
was somewhat of an escape, right?
Yeah.
From the neighborhood, from where
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
living. You were dealing with drugs. You were
Yeah.
dealing with guns. The
Yeah.
police. The house was raided twice. The house was shot up.
Mhm.
The the escape that football gave you, working out gave you,
Mhm.
obviously being at the college, but traveling out of the neighborhood.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you dealt with within the neighborhood, and then you saw obviously an opportunity and motivated yourself?
Um, for those that don't know, I'm from Los Angeles, like proper, the city. I
Yeah.
was born and raised in LA. Lived there up until I went away to college at San Jose State in when I was about 20 years old. Went to West Los Angeles Junior College.
Hmm.
Um, Anybody that follows me on social media, I only have one social media page, and it's Shied25, SHIED 25 at on Instagram.
Make sure
That's
you
my only
follow that.
social media that I have. And if you want, I have my political views, and you will see what they are when you go on my page. I don't hide shit. I am who I am. That being said, there is a picture of me if you search through the posts when I was in high school. I did play football 1 year in high school as a sophomore in high school. I probably looked like I was in 6th grade, maybe, but I was a sophomore in high school. So when you see that picture, people,
You were 5 feet tall.
I may have been 5 feet tall, may have weighed 100 pounds, right? Like I was tiny, and I'm a late bloomer.
Hmm.
I I didn't when I say late bloomer, I'm not that tall, but when I tell you I was short, I have Osgood Slaughter. That's I'll tell you. Like Osgood Slaughter is like you grow really fast, and most people that are really tall that grew really fast end up with like Osgood Slaughter.
Yeah.
So when you see basketball players with the thing around their knee, like the pre-wrap and stuff
Yeah.
around their knees, it's because
Yeah.
they're dealing with knee pain. They grew really fast, right? I was so small. I grew so many inches over my junior year from the summer of going into my senior year in high
You went
school.
from 5 to 5'10".
Yeah, I was 5 foot, maybe 5'1", 2, at the most 5'3" to 5'9 3/4" over like
Right.
the summer. And I vividly remember like when that happened because I my mom took me to the doctor because my knees were hurting, and I don't know why. And just like when it first started happening, my knees started hurting. And we went in, and the doctor starts like, they do x-rays and they show me and whatever. And he's like, you see all of this white here? That means you're growing. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm jumping for joy, like happy. My oldest brother is like 5'6". You know what I mean? And so
How many siblings you have?
I have 8 siblings, 6 brothers, 2 sisters.
You're in the middle.
I'm right in the middle, number 5. Anyway, so like that happened, and so when I went back to school as a senior, the first day, sitting on the same wall that I had been leaning against for 3 years prior, and with the same folks, like before school, and then realizing, like looking as my friends started walking up and whatnot, that I was like looking eye to eye with a lot of them, and over their heads, a lot of them. And I'm like, what happened here? Like, I didn't have no clue. And I thought all of these people were these giants, realizing that I was just really damn short. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and they were,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of why I didn't play football, and then the fact that I lived so far from where I went to high school. Like, I was bused to school.
Well, you had to bus to a different school because the school that was near your house was a Crip school, a blood school.
A blood school.
And your family had a history of being Crips.
Yeah, so my family is filled with Crips.
Yeah.
I don't have family members that were Bloods and whatnot, other, cousins and distant cousins and
Right.
whatnot. But yeah, the high school that I would have had to go to, my local high school, Thomas Jefferson High School in LA, was basically a blood school.
You didn't bang.
I didn't bang, my
But
brothers
your family
did, but
family's
anybody, even
affiliated.
out here, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
From talking to people that grew up here, like, you're affiliated by association
Mhm.
when it comes to gang life.
Always.
whether you bang or not, the police see you that way, the community, see you, especially the community outside of your community who doesn't know you. Like, where do you live? Who are your brothers? Blah, blah. And my brothers were well known. My family was well known in the community, which was sort of a good thing, and it was like a double-edged sword, right? Because nobody fucked with us because of that, because they were well known. But then the double-edged part of it was people outside of the community. That was a problem, especially if I ended up in the wrong place and people recognized me or knew who my brothers and whatnot were,
Right.
and their friends and whatnot, and the police, especially the local police,
Well, the police
were a
raided the fucking
problem.
house before.
Yeah, I've been awakened by the police on a couple occasions with
Yeah.
regards to searching for my family members and whatnot, guns in my face and that kind of stuff. So that happened a couple times. My house has been shot up a couple times. And
By police or rival gangs?
no, rival gangs. There were shooters in my neighborhood. Like, I grew up in like Minister Society,
Yeah.
Boys in the Hood, South Central. You and I talked about
South
this, or
Central.
like,
Show you right.
and Colors. Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
grew up with a
yeah.
lot of Hispanics too, Latinos.
Yeah.
I can't say Mexican because they were Guatemalan and El Salvadorian and
Yeah.
all of these different Latin races and ethnicities. I'll say that, Latin ethnicities. But we called everybody Mexican because we were stupid. But anyway, we were just stupid as kids. And so all of that stuff kind of went on in my community and those guys. But the point I was trying to make is that, like, how do I want to say this?
Well, then in terms of being able to kind of not really escape that behavior, escape that neighborhood, but I remember you had talked about being able to, you shouldn't drive up and down your street, right? You
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
you
you
couldn't
couldn't, like, I mean, yeah, you didn't, in a rough neighborhood, especially with guns and gangs and all of that other
right.
stuff. You don't circle a block. You circle a block, you trying to spin the
You're
block,
trying to
as
spin the
they
block,
say.
right?
You
Yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean? And so,
Yeah, you don't need to come by here twice.
yeah, what you like? I
Fuck
don't
you doing?
recognize that
Right.
car.
Yeah,
If I don't recognize that car,
we got problems.
we got problems,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
So a lot of that stuff went on in my environment, and so back to the point of the high school, like, I was bused to an upper class, middle class neighborhood. Matter of fact, one of the guys that I went to junior high and high school with was John Garland. I don't know if you guys are White Sox fans, but
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Garland, we went to junior high and high school together. Totally different backgrounds, totally different communities, but because I was bused all the way to school out there, for you Chicagoans, it'd be like being where we are. And what community is this? What neighborhood?
I know we're in Cook County. What neighborhood
What
are we in?
neighborhood?
This
In
is
Chicago?
is this the Loop?
Douglas Park area, and being bused all the way out to like
Schaumburg or
Lake
something?
Forest,
Oh shit.
Libertyville area. Not quite Lake Forest, because Lake Forest is really rich,
Right.
but like, Libertyville, whatnot kind of area. It's like an hour plus away
Yeah.
daily from junior high to high school. And so, but because of that, I was a little bit safer, although that school also had gang issues because they were busing kids from all over the valley too. And Pacoima was Pacoima Piru territory. Pirus are bloods.
Pirus are
You know what I
Bloods,
mean?
yeah.
So
Mhm.
I wasn't a banger, but I had Crip mannerisms and language and lingo. Because that's what I grew up around, But I had to figure out a way to mask all of that. I was so far from home, like nobody could come save me. As tough and big and bad as my brothers and family was, my ass was kicked if I was out there by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Getting into fights. Because they were all friends. They all lived around each other and whatnot. And I'm this kid from a whole nother community.
Yeah.
Right. So, and my brothers all had gotten kicked out of school by that time. I was in high school when I became of age to be targeted.
Mhm.
Right. Targeted by police and targeted by other gangs. Right. As soon as you leave the elementary age, you start to look like you know, a teenager,
Start to get
then you
recruited,
you start to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons I didn't play football. And then back to the football thing, I ended up walking on at a junior college, West LA Junior College, at a 5'9", 140 pounds. And
Without a ton of experience in high school.
no real experience in high school. Like, I didn't know nothing about nothing. So luckily for me, I was blessed with a coach, a receiver coach, who had he played at West Los Angeles Junior College, but he had just finished up his career at Idaho State, the Vandals. I think that's Idaho State.
Yep.
The Vandals, and he was a record-breaking receiver with the Vandals. And he didn't catch on to any NFL teams like he had hoped. And so he ended up coaching us, and I learned so much in those 2 years. I was blessed to have him. And then, like you said, like, football became my oasis for my everyday life. And that was one of the big differences between myself and my teammates, because I played with some guys that were really fucking good.
Right.
Better players by far than I was.
Well, wasn't it within in your league? Didn't you say that, if I remember correctly,
Chad Johnson, Ocho
was in the
Cinco,
league,
at the time. TJ Hushmanzada was at
Houshmandzadeh.
Cerritos.
Yeah.
There's another guy that I played with named Angelo Jones. Like, we had a ton of talent. LA is filled with football talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so Santa Monica is where Santa Monica is where Chad Johnson and Steve Smith were at.
Oh, Steve Smith was there too. From the Panthers.
Steve Smith.
Okay.
Was there with Chad Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, at Santa Monica when I was at West LA. And so yeah, I was at West LA with tons of talent, so much talent that I believe 7 or 8 of us that played receiver went D1 in the 2 years I was there. We played 3 receivers all the time, 4 receivers most of the time.
West Coast offense.
Man, we were throwing the ball all over the place. And so we had guys go to a couple guys from my freshman year one went to Nebraska, one went to USC, one went to Kansas State. Manjero went to Oregon State with TJ Hushmanzada and Chad Johnson.
But you also, you played football in high school, but after not a ton of experience, managed to play at West LA and then San Jose State called.
So
within 2 years, you proved.
Yeah, I was good. I've been fast as long as I can remember, and I just proved to be as fast as I thought I was. Right, like my first 40 was a 4.5 on wet grass and some big mid-sole or cleats, not mid-sole, but mid-top cleats, you know, and Reeboks.
Old school.
Like, I didn't know shit. That's how bad I was. Like, I was so green. I wore Reeboks, what everybody else was wearing, and they were probably lineman shoes, lineman cleats.
Molded.
No, they were screw-ins, but it was just like, I didn't know nothing about nothing, man.
Right.
But because I was surrounded with so much talent, and all I wanted to do was play ball, and my everyday life was hard. Like, I lived at school. You know what I mean? Like, one of the biggest revelations that I had that kept me going to school and like really focusing on my education to start was the Pell Grant, right?
Yeah.
When I first got my Pell Grant check, it was like $2,000, and to me that was a shit ton of money.
Might have been $1 million.
Boatload of money. Could have been $1 million to me, right? Like, but the thing that was a catalytic moment for me that changed my life was like going and depositing that check into the bank and like opening a bank account, because everybody in my community didn't do that. Most people went to the check cashing place down the street and cashed their check for exorbitant fees, right? Crazy fees.
Right. They take.
And I was like, I don't remember what made me go open a bank account with like Bank of America, but I took that check.
Was that your first bank account?
First ever. Like, I went by myself.
Yeah.
Took my ID and whatnot. All this, I had no guidance. I did it all by myself, right? So I did this, and they gave me this temporary ATM card, and that temporary ATM card allowed me to go take some of that money out right away. And I kid you not, I went to the ATM, and this is outside of across the street from USC.
Yeah.
Right, because there wasn't no banks in my neighborhood. Like I
Now
grew up on the far east side.
You were living at the crib still.
I was still living at home,
but spending time on campus to escape home.
Yeah, but I went to West LA Junior College. I grew up, and anybody from LA would know this. Like I grew up on the east side, like past Figueroa, right? Like I grew up on the far east side. And some people called it the bottoms or whatever they wanted to call it, right? Like I grew up in the hood.
Right.
But it wasn't East LA. East LA is a whole different place.
Yeah.
Mostly filled with Latinos. Mexican gangs, right. And Spanish gangs, that nature. But so when I went to the bank was all the way by USC, and which was a few miles walking distance from my house. And so I went to that bank, opened that checking account and banking account, whatnot, went outside, put my code in, pulled out some money, and just thought, like, holy shit. Like, this is my money, right? This is my money.
Right.
There's nobody knows I have it. There's no police going to come arrest me for having it, getting it. Like, I can come to this establishment and use this card. And so that changed everything for me. Because then I thought, I'm a logical dude, right? Like, I thought, I went to school for free for a long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went, elementary through high school, 12 years, however long it was, right? I went to school for free for all this time. Damn sure I could go to school, and if they're going to pay me to do it, you know what I mean? Like, that's when I became a better student.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I wanted to play football, and then so my coaches were all about trying to help us understand what it takes to go to college and play, because everybody wants to go play in college, and I sucked. And I thought, he was telling everybody else that I wasn't stupid enough or smart enough to think it couldn't be me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just green and stupid enough to think, yeah, he talking to him, he talking to me too, right? So this is what you got to do to go play in college. You got to graduate from here. You got to do all of these different things. You got to in order for you to play, you got to have a 2.0 GPA. Shit, that's easy.
Right.
Right. So I started just going because of those things. And then I got good at football. Like I started my very first game.
Right.
And like, I went to practice every day and I worked. Like, and all of these other people, all my teammates had, not all of them, but many of them had these preconceived ideas of who they were because they were told. Many of them were bounce backs from university, playing Division I or Division whatever they went to, or they just should have gone to play somewhere, but didn't have the grades. Like, so there was various levels of this thing. Mm-hmm. Some of them were even, if y'all watch Last Chance U, some of them were straight out of jail. Some of my teammates were straight out of the pen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, no joke. But I was able to see all of these guys with tremendous talent and work out and play with them and be around them every day. And football became a passion. I was delusional thinking that I could do the same thing that they were doing, and I started doing it.
Is that when you believed that you could? The goal was to move on to another school, another institution. But at that point, even at West LA, did it hit you that, wait a minute, I can go to another school and maybe I can do this for a job?
Yeah, like I'm watching all the guys before me go play, like I said, Nebraska, Kansas State, and a few of them I started over, or I started alongside, and I'm like, shit, I'm just the next up in line, right? That's in my head. I'm just the next up in line, and my first letter was from San Jose State. Kid you not, one of my first letters. I got letters from other places and at the time I had no clue. To me, it was like they want me, right? But anybody who has, their name on, their coaches have sent out to colleges or whatnot, probably gets letters. And so I got a letter from like Oregon State and San Jose State, and I thought to myself, I ain't going to San Jose State. No joke. I just kind of put the letter over there. It was just a regular old. We're interested. We're watching kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my head, yes, I thought, yeah, I could do it if
Right.
he's doing it. And then my homeboy next to me that played on the other side of me, his name is Edel Shepard. Ironically, he came here right after San Jose State and was on the practice squad here for the Bears.
Oh, okay.
Back in 2002. So Edel came here, but he was being recruited by several schools. He was really fucking good. He was better than me at the time, for sure. And he was taller too. I was faster than he was, quicker than he was, played multiple special teams and things of that nature. So I did other things that he didn't do. But as a receiver, he was a beast. And so he started getting recruited by other schools. And because San Jose State and Louisville and other schools were coming to see him, this is what San Jose State told me. It was like, we didn't really even come to see you, but every time we popped in a video, you just kept popping up on tape. Like, and then we started asking, well, who is that? And so we both end up going to San Jose State in my, our junior years were at San Jose State. So that was in 2000. So we both ended up at San Jose State in the spring of 2000. Matter of fact, as I was on my recruiting trip, he ended up calling back because he was there the week before. He called up to the school, or they called him, or somehow. We ended up on the phone together as I was sitting there across from the coaches, and he was like, "Yo, shit, I'm gonna commit." You know what I mean, to San Jose State. And
who was your coach at San Jose State?
Coach Dean, Alvin Dean. No, not Alvin Dean. What was Dean? Alvin Dean was one of my teammates, but Coach Dean, what the hell was Coach Dean's first name? I can't remember.
Well, at San Jose State, you had
Dave Baldwin was the head coach, though.
Baldwin was the head coach. You had some crazy stats at San Jose State as well, but then another coach came in senior year, and you ended up having to switch to defense?
Yeah, so my junior year, I led the team in receiving. I had 40 catches, 785 yards, and 6 or 7 touchdowns or something like that. I averaged 19.6 yards a catch.
Per catch?
Per catch. I think the only person that year that averaged more, I vaguely remember seeing this in one of them books, was Chad Johnson. Chad averaged 21.2 or some shit.
Was that at Oregon State?
He was at Oregon State. Some obscene number. He was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so for me, thinking that like I'm gonna have a great like senior year, like I balled out against USC. I went back to play at home against USC, and that was one of the things that San Jose State used to recruit me. They're like, we play USC. Like they didn't want you, but you get to show them why where they fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Because I grew up down the street from USC, so I was like, cool. And Nebraska was like the first game of the year, and at the time they were number 1 in the nation. He was like, all of these teams, you might have wanted to go to these places, but guess what? You get to show them where they messed up. And so against Nebraska, my first game at the Division I level, I had 3 catches, 60 yards, a touchdown. Actually, I had 2 touchdowns. My first catch was a touchdown. They called it back for a hold or something like that.
Always.
Yeah. And then my second catch, or my actual first catch, was like a 37-yard bomb jumping over somebody. I have that picture somewhere. Actually, nice. I think it's posted on my Instagram. Jumping over somebody.
Go follow.
And like snatching it away. And then I had a few more catches. And against USC, I hit them up for 121 or something like that. I hit Stanford up for 130-something in the touchdown. And game-winning touchdown against TCU when LaDainian was there.
Oh, okay.
And they were number 9. We ended up beating them. They were pissed. We had an advantage, though. Our field was shitty. And LaDainian was tearing people out the fucking frame. Right? Like that year, he had his lowest output of the season against us. That year.
Was your defense legit?
No. That motherfucker had 151 yards. He had 151 yards.
Did whatever he wanted.
Oh, my God. But our field was so bad that he was slipping. Like plays he
grass or
probably
turf?
would grass
Grass.
at the time. Now it's turf.
Yeah.
But he probably would have had 200 plus yards if our field wasn't so bad.
I mean, he used to put up games like that in the league,
It
so I
was
can only
like
imagine what he was
a
doing.
video
to y'all.
game, man. LaDainian was ridiculous. There was a play where he shook one of my homeboys, a corner, had him, we thought was going to light him up, had him dead to rights. He didn't even look there. LaDainian used to wear this like dark visor, super dark ass visor.
You couldn't see shit.
And so he's coming through the hole and our corner is like getting ready to come light him up. He shook that dude so bad, bro, without even turning his head to look at him. He just heads facing this way, boop, guy flies by, he
in and out.
He touchdown, walked in, hands in the air.
Dog, you had a incredible path to the Bears, and I mean incredible in a fantastic way. I mean, going from San Jose State to you guys won 2 titles with the SaberCats.
Oh, in arena football, yeah. So
a lot of people, and that's obviously a different game, but before the Bears, it's not like you were only just an arena player. You guys won 2 championships.
Yeah, man. I've been a winner everywhere I've been. So I only had one. I may not have won a bunch of championships throughout my career, but I've only had maybe 1, maybe 2 losing seasons in my entire career playing football. That includes the Bears.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we had a losing season when I was playing for the Bears, to be honest with you.
Well, no.
When I was in Detroit, we didn't. We went to the playoffs in Detroit. I think we won 10 or 11 games that year.
You guys were mostly in the playoff run. You were in a playoff run.
We always in the playoff run, so we never had a year, even though there were years we didn't go to the playoffs, we never had a year that was over mid-season. Like it was always last game of the year or something like that, whether we got in or didn't get in, right? So a lot of the times we did hold our future in our own hands. How did we want to, and sometimes we failed and didn't succeed, but most of the time we did. But yeah, I ended up playing for the SaberCats right out of San Jose State.
Both ways.
I had to play both ways, was an Ironman. That's a long story how I ended up there too, but
tell it.
I had a lot of fun. Man, I had my last game at San Jose State was against Stanford, and it was at home, and that's when I had been moved to defense.
Right. New coach.
Long story short, we got a new coach when I was a senior at San Jose State. They fired our coach after a successful season. The way that I understand it is the AD didn't get along with our head coach. Our head coach was looking to get an extension at the time. They chose not to. They let him go. They brought in a new guy. For whatever reason, he didn't like me. This dude named Fitzgerald Hill from Arkansas, was an Arkansas receiver coach. Never had been a head coach before he got the San Jose State job. And he kind of foreshadowed, like my initial meeting with him kind of foreshadowed our relationship. Because I'm actually, I think the only player from the previous year who went to his introduction press conference.
Oh, okay.
Introductory press conference. And when I went to the introductory press conference, I kind of waited in the back, while everybody else was, shaking his hand and introducing themselves. I waited to my turn and whatnot. I introduced myself, and he just kind of like looked right through me and didn't really acknowledge. And like I'm in my head, I'm the best receiver on the team.
Up the best stats on the year before,
I'm the leading receiver of your team.
Yeah.
I averaged 20 yards a catch, my guy.
Right.
But unfortunately, I'm a people pleaser to some degree, right? So it took me a while to figure out how to say no and stuff like that, and realize I didn't have to please everybody. And so I ended up trying to play for him and get him to come to my side and whatnot, and I could do no right for him. So because of that, 3 games against Nevada. Nate Burleson was at Nevada at the time.
Oh, okay.
Nevada, we're in a close game. My homeboy Edel and Nate Burleson are dueling receiver. They killing, both of them. Nate had 300 yards receiving. No touchdowns, but he had 300 yards receiving in that game. So Nate is killing on the other side. And my homeboy Edel ended up with 250 yards receiving in that game, but he scored a couple times. So at least once or twice. But what precipitated like Nate's like success in that game was like one of my teammates' nickname was AWOL. He went AWOL. Like he literally went AWOL before the game. And so he was suspended for that game.
Yeah.
And so everybody else behind him wasn't close. Now, AWOL could play. Like he probably would have played in the league if he did what he was supposed to do. He was that talented. But so he didn't play, and then our backups, like the drop-off was huge. And so Nate was killing, and I wasn't playing on the offensive side of the ball. I was basically sitting in there watching. I was sitting on the sideline, like dejected and watching the game, like sad and shit. But there was nothing I could do. Like I couldn't, he wouldn't play me. Right. Yeah. So,
yeah.
You know, even though he was the head coach, he was a receiver coach, and I needed to fit what he wanted me to fit, and I didn't for whatever reason. And so at halftime, we go into the receiver meeting room, and in the receiver meeting room, as I'm sitting there watching, you know, the receiver coach talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and whatever, going over things, the defensive backs coach comes in, or the defensive coordinator comes into the receiver room and says, "Hey, Coach Dub, give me Sheed." Or give me him, he said. And I'm like, who? And he pointed to me. So I got up and went with him.
To play corner?
Walked me into the defensive backs room and said, where they were meeting, and he drew on the whiteboard, he said, "This is you, this is him," drew a figure eight around him and said, "Do what you did in practice." And so in practice, I'm super competitive. And so I'm pretty relaxed and calm, and I'm not going to start a fight, but if you start one with me, we gonna fight.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
so we gonna real
go,
fight.
We gotta go.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was a gunner on the punt team, but I was the only receiver that was a gunner. Everybody else was DBs. And so we're doing our stuff, and the defensive coordinator he was in charge of the gunners for punt team. And so the DBs start talking shit. And I'm like, okay. All right. And so I said, I bet you I could stop you from getting down the field and you wouldn't be able to cover a kick, but you couldn't stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just did it. Right. So I lined up. Press man, had never done it before.
Right.
And start whooping their ass in practice.
Yeah.
And so that's what he meant. He said, do what you did in practice. Do what you did in practice. He's like, do you know what cover 2 and cover 3 is? And I was like, kind of not, I don't really know. And he was like, all right, well, just play press man. That's your guy. Follow him everywhere he goes. Take him everywhere he goes. And so if we end up in a different coverage, then I'll take you out, put somebody else in. And so I went in and nobody caught a pass on me in that game.
So
and we ended up
Coach
winning
already
that game.
Realized the athletic ability, the work ethic, the mental toughness, et cetera. And he didn't even feel like he needed to explain a ton. He was like, get out there and give me what you were giving me on the other side of the ball.
I couldn't do any worse than what they were doing. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, like they had 300 yards, right?
Right. Right. It was about.
I couldn't do any worse.
But at that point,
but I'm one of the best athletes on the field.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here watching the game, and he was just like, he can't do any worse than them. Put them in man. And so when I lined up, and the first time they try to go at me, I break it up like they can't do nothing with me. It was just stay out there. And the other receiver coach on the other side was screaming at them, "That's a fucking receiver." Right? And so
somebody do something.
The last thing I ever said to that guy, that I can remember, I didn't never say anything to the head coach, Fitz. I never said anything to him after this. The last interaction I remember having with him was in that game. I was exhausted. Anybody that's ever played man coverage on somebody, and that's all you're doing, and press at that, like that's all you're doing. Like I was exhausted at one point, and I'm like, universal signal is like, I need one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm exhausted. And he looked at me and yelled, "No, you wanted to play? You wanted to play? Stay out there," with his country ass.
That's your country white voice?
And yeah, that's no, he's a black dude.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, see, look at
I
you.
thought-
Don't be racist now. Look at you.
There was no but it
Hey, I'm
sounded,
joking,
you guys
I'm
got to
joking.
admit that sounded
He's super
that was his
country black
white
dude.
voice.
Super country from Arkansas. But he did that, and I looked at him with the most vitriol I've ever looked at a coach in my life. And I looked at him, looked right through him. I turned my head and I just went and played. I ain't spoken to that dude since.
Straight up.
Like, I don't got nothing to say to you.
Did-
And I don't
did-
got nothing good to say about you either.
That
So,
give you the
how about
confidence,
that?
though? That success give you the confidence because arena's a different. I'm sure you're familiar with arena. Arena's a different setup, different field size, et cetera, like that. But that play that year when you were playing defense at San Jose, when you went into arena, you were like, man, put me wherever. Like I can knock this out.
Yeah, those 4 games, I ended up with 2 interceptions. I dropped one. I should have had 3. 2 interceptions and 26 tackles in 3.5 games.
Nice.
And so I didn't give up a lot. I had pass breakups and other stuff like that, but I didn't have a lot of catches, passes caught on me and whatnot. Ended up playing against Bernard Berrien.
Okay. Also,
Who
Chicago
was
Bear.
at Fresno State.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny story there too. I'll tell you that after this part. Pat Hill after that game complimented me about the job that I did on Bernard in that game.
Oh, you were man on Bernard though?
I was a man on Bernard and Rodney Wright. They had another receiver that was really good too.
Right.
And so on those 2 guys, Rodney gave me more problems than Bernard.
Well, Bernard in college. I mean, Bernard in the Bears weighed like 120, so in college he's probably like 35
Yeah,
pounds.
no, he was Bernard weighed a little bit more than that, but Bernard was a problem.
No, he was fast.
He did
can
score
run.
on me in that game. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, the
Yeah.
funny story that I want to tell you is my mom had this picture that she said, "Rashied, go get this autograph for me." And it's a picture, and I look at the picture and I'm like, "For real, Mom? It's a picture of Bernard catching that touchdown on me in college."
Wow.
So
She did that shit on purpose.
my mom ain't got no ego, don't really care. Like, she's just like,
That was a setup.
this is
You
what
may
I
think
want.
that.
Like, yeah.
She tried to pass that shit like, here you go.
No,
honey,
she
just
didn't.
sign
She did it without no irony or nothing. She didn't care. She was just like, I want you to sign. This is a picture of my son
Right.
and his teammate. And she's like, go get this signed for me. Of course, I'm not going to tell her no.
Straight
And
up.
Bernard just kind of laughed or whatnot. It's literally, I'm like in great coverage. His quarterback was Carr.
David Carr?
David Carr
Okay.
in college, right?
Texans.
Yeah,
right?
Texans. So his quarterback was David Carr. And so this is me right here, and Bernard is slightly behind me, and the ball is a back shoulder fade, and the
Okay.
ball flies right by my head, right here.
You didn't see it.
No, it happened so quickly. Like,
Yeah.
I boom, and the ball flies right by my head, and it's Bernard behind me catching it.
Back shoulder fades are almost inside.
And like, I can't stop it. Like, I'm in
Yeah.
great coverage, but I couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, so it was, when I got to arena, I did have knowledge and understanding that I could do this, and I was confident. Not as confident as I needed to be, but I was confident that I could play both ways. And I knew no one could stop me from scoring on the offensive side.
There are
once I figured
guys,
it out.
obviously, in the arena league in the NFL from
Yeah,
the arena
yes.
league, but that's not. Owners, GMs, et cetera, aren't looking like we got to go get some guys out of the arena league.
At
So
that time, I was
who
lucky.
came and got you? Well, first of all, who came and got you? Number one from the Bears, because
Mhm.
obviously they
Jerry
came and grabbed
Angelo.
you. Jerry
Jerry
Shout
Angelo
out
and
Jerry
Bobby
Angelo.
DePaul.
Okay, I remember Bobby.
Bobby DePaul and Jerry Angelo, I owe a lot of me being here to them because they actually wanted me to make the team. I had other teammates who came from the NFL, so I everywhere I've been is sort of like God has placed me in this spot because everywhere that I've been throughout my career were places that I could grow and get better. And even in arena, although I was confident in my ability, that I was coming from a year where I was broken. Like, I had never had to deal with a rough coach,
Right.
a coach that just didn't like me and I couldn't do anything to please. I had never had to deal with that. And this was only my 4th year playing football. Like, I was a complete novice prior to that, right? And so having to deal with that, there were times that I was crying in my receiver coaches, like, hotel room before a game because I'm like, I don't know what, and he could do nothing for me. Like I
Right.
don't know what to tell you. Like I'm literally, and I'm getting emotional about it now because I was angry, I was sad, I was
Was
confused.
that
I didn't
Daryl
know
Drake?
shit.
Was he your receiver coach?
At San Jose, I mean, with the Bears, he was my receiver
He was
coach. I'm
coach.
talking about
Rest
my
in peace,
receiver
Daryl Drake.
coach when I was in college, Coach Keith Williams.
Okay.
He coaches in the league right now. I forget where he's at. He was at Baltimore for a bit, and then he was with the Saints. I just don't know which one he's at right now. But Keith, Coach Dub was just like he couldn't do anything for me, like because he knew I couldn't do anything to please that coach, and he couldn't get me on the field. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like back to this dude, right? So like the one game that I got to play in my senior year at receiver where I was given a legitimate opportunity to play receiver was the UTEP game.
Mhm.
It was like game 6. We ain't won a game all year. This is a team that went 7-5 that we were good. And majority of that team was juniors, and we had 20 something seniors coming back from that team. And so we hadn't won a game all year. We ended up playing against UTEP and somebody got hurt. So I got to play.
Mhm.
And I had to have a good game. Like I ended up with almost 100 yards, 4 catches, 80 something yards, whatnot. We ended up winning that game. And so after that game, I thought I played really well. You know what I mean? We made some adjustments at halftime, and I made those adjustments immediately out onto the field, caught a big play after halftime to put us in scoring position. I ran this route. I ran a slant on the goal line, and the DB kind of got in there, and the balls were slightly behind me, and the DB comes and kind of breaks that play up, right? So, that being said, we go on and win that game. After the game, the guy's name is Lawrence Fan, rest his soul. He was the media guy for our university. And he was like, Rashied, how does it feel to be back? Like he interviewed me, talks to me, and I'm like, he's happy to see me happy, and I'm happy. I'm thinking I'm like I finally broke through. This guy is gonna like appreciate what I bring to the table and whatnot. And um, I'm practicing, we're doing everything we gotta do. We get to the next game and I don't play. I
After
don't
just
fucking
having
play.
had a good game.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't play at all. I don't play a snap. And I finally I went to his office. Like I didn't schedule him for. I just knocked on his office. He was in there, and I sat down in front of him, and I was like, I don't understand. Like I didn't play a snap. Like what happened? I thought I was gonna, get some more time, and I had
Mhm.
earned some opportunity. And he was like, remember that play where you were on the goal line, you ran a slant, and you dropped the pass or whatnot. And I was like, you mean the one where the DB, like he made a play? He on scholarship too, right? Like, you mean that one?
Mhm.
And he was like, well, I disagree, whatever. Like I said, I had 4 catches and 86 yards. Do the math. How many yards per catch is that?
6, 7, 18.
4 of 5
Right.
passes thrown to me, I caught. 86 yards.
22
That
catch.
play, mind you, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
he said that to me, and then he lied. He lied in my face. He's like, but since you came to me and you talked to me like a man, you look at me in my eyes, you talk to me like a man, um, I'm going to try to get you some more reps. And so everybody knows, like, the day before the game is when, the game walkthroughs and all of that stuff, the game plan goes in, like, whether you're going to play or not.
Mhm.
Right. So we get to that practice. I'm getting reps throughout practice throughout that week and whatnot. And then we get to Thursday before or Friday, whenever I forget what day we played on that week, but the day before the game, and we're going through walkthroughs and all of that, and I'm nowhere to be found on script. I'm not getting called to get any reps or anything like that. It's the first time and only time I ever checked out of practice. I
Really?
took my helmet and I walked to the other side of the field and I knelt and I watched practice.
Did the coaches notice?
I'm sure they did. Nobody
Yeah.
said anything.
Okay.
Nobody said a word to me, and I didn't say a word to anybody.
Mhm.
I just went and checked out. I just took my knee, and I just
That's
And
interesting.
so for
Interesting
me, I
coming from
was,
you because knowing how self motivated, how
mhm,
driven, how what a strong work ethic you had, that must have been excruciating.
I was excruciating.
Yeah,
I was angry. Nothing good was going to happen if I stood over there. I
yeah,
was probably going to cry because I'm, you know, very emotional. I was going to be so mad. I
yeah.
was so mad. Um, that I mean, he could have just told me like, you're still not going to play. You
Right,
didn't have to lie to me,
right.
right? And so, but I that taught me that, um, or it brought me back to where I was before that, because before that I always played I with a Bible verse in my head. When you work, work as though you're working for God, not for man, because man, you uh, will always disappoint. You will never be able to really please man, right?
Hmm.
But God is always pleased with you, right?
Hmm.
So,
Right.
and pleased with your effort. And so I went back to that and stopped focusing on him. But I said all of that because when I got to arena, although I was confident, I had times where I was up and down because that broke me. That year like broke me and made me lose a lot of faith in my own abilities. But
Confidence.
arena brought that back out.
Brought it back.
And
Yeah.
being around those guys and being around coaches, and one of my favorite coaches to this day, his name is Terry Malley. And he looked at me one day in my second year in arena and he said, Rashied, never let me believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And that changed my whole view of everything in myself. And that's when I started playing up to my abilities.
Right.
And when the NFL came calling, it's like my last year in arena, I scored 44 touchdowns,
Good Lord.
1,400 yards receiving, 100 catches. I was a fucking
I
monster.
mean, as long as I've known you, you've been ultra confident, ultra, like I was saying, work ethic, mental
Mm-hmm.
toughness. But I guess I would ask is how in the fuck did you ever catch a football with your index finger? Index finger. Show it to the camera.
This
Show
is
it to
the
the camera.
hook.
What is that? Have you guys
It's the
seen
hook,
Peter
my
Pan?
guy.
Have you seen? I mean, so there were times before if we couldn't get into a club, we would have Rashied scale
Shut
the
up,
building
man.
and come open the door for us. Like there's a lot of different uses.
No, this is the hook,
But
man.
talking about the Bears though, one of the stories I've heard, and you can elaborate on this, was there was an injury in some of your locker room. First of all, talk about the locker room shenanigans, the shit you guys used to do. But
Oh man, we loved
what
each other.
injury took place, and how did you manage to piss off the calmest guy in the world? Your whole team, you guys all pissed this dude off.
We pissed Lovey off, right? We pissed Lovey off that day. But we were all like we loved each other. We loved playing with each other.
Right.
And
Pause.
and we still, yeah, whatever. I don't even do that, man. I ain't Cameron and Mace. I ain't gotta say pause. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
The locker room.
The locker room was like, for us, like most of us are friends to this day.
Right.
But we had fun together. We went out together. We ate together. Every position, defense, offense, like we, of course, position groups hung out with position groups a lot, but we all hung out together and partied together and did all this stuff. But we used to always play games in the locker room, like games like Foursquare. I think we played badminton at one point. We used to play whiffleball all the time. And the story you're talking about, we were playing whiffleball. It wasn't really actual wiffle ball. It was like a big wad of tape. We had rolled
like
up.
A tape ball.
Like it was a tape ball. We had wadded up into the size of a baseball. And I don't even remember who was batting, but Fred Miller was the victim. So I don't remember who was at bat and who was pitching. It might have been Lance batting or pitching. I don't know, because he was always playing. That would make
sense. Yeah.
Right. But regardless of who was batting and who was pitching, like the ball was hit, and we were good. Especially, I think it might have been 05 or 06. 05, yeah, because 05 we went to the playoffs.
Playoff run, yeah.
A good playoff run. We were a solid team. And in 06, we obviously went to the Super Bowl. So it was one of those years, and we're in the midst of like this playoff run, and somebody hits the ball and it hits Fred Miller in his leg, and it like puts a big gash in his leg, right? And he has to get stitches, if I'm not mistaken. And like, Lovey, I can't remember if it was that day or the next day, but Lovey is pissed. He's livid. And you know, Lovey don't cuss. Like,
Yeah.
he will not say a
Or
bad
raise his
word.
voice.
Or it rarely raises his voice, right? Like, he
Right.
gets us in the huddle. I think it was outside of Hallis Hall, on the practice field, if I'm not mistaken. And he's like, Jiminy Christmas. And that was like cussing. That's cussing for Lovey. You get Lovey to say Jiminy Christmas, your ass is in trouble. Right? You're like, you guys, and he chooses out. Like, we're in a playoff run and you guys are in here goofing around. Jiminy Christmas.
Man.
And yeah, man, we did some crazy things in that locker room.
You had
We
dodgeball as
we
well,
played
right?
dodgeball. We used to play Jamrock. Welcome to. If that song came on in the locker room, we destroyed the locker room. We turned over the laundry things and we made a lot of noise. And Tony Medlin was pissed. He used to hate that song.
T-Med's still there.
T-Med's still there.
there.
T-Med is my guy.
Yeah.
I love T-Med, but T-Med hated that because we would tear shit up.
Man.
I mean, not literally tear anything off the walls, but just throw stuff out of our lockers, paper and shoes. And it was just like one of those
staff
things.
had to clean the shit up.
Yeah, I know. We were shitty people. We didn't always, sometimes we cleaned up after ourselves or whatnot, but it was mostly at a time of year when we, like in training camp.
Right.
It's like the middle or end of training camp or close to it. And it's the dog days. We're exhausted and hot and tired. We've been doing this for a long time. And it was whatever we needed to do to sort of wake ourselves up to go do our job, that day. And so everybody has their motivations
Right.
to get them through things. And one of our things that we did, because we hung out, we partied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But our motto was always, if you're going to stay up with the Owls, you better be able to soar with the Eagles in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if you're going to hang out with us, you better be able to get up and go to work, because we going to work tomorrow.
Were you there when Lance was a rookie?
No. My first year was 2005. Lance was, I think, a rookie in 2003 or 2004 or something like that.
Because I remember the story when he showed up after a New Year's Eve into the meeting room. You heard that story?
No, I don't remember that.
He showed up.
But I can imagine.
This dude showed up after New Year's Eve to Hallis Hall in a cab.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the security gate.
Yeah.
Shows the security gate. Everybody's already in the main team meeting room waiting on Lance.
Yeah.
This dude showed up in his suit pants, shoes, jacket with no shirt.
Yeah.
And just sat
I'm
down
not
and
surprised.
everybody was cracking up. And
I'm
like
not
Lance just sat down like the meeting was started.
I am not surprised at friggin' all. There were certain people, no names shall be used, that would sometimes show up on game day, whether we were at home, when we were away, on game day, directly from where they came from. Wherever they were the night before, directly onto the bus in the same shit they had on the night we landed. So there were several. It was funny, man.
And there's some 007-ish stuff going on here because there's bed check, there's security. It's not easy to get out of the hotel.
Yes, no.
So there's some navigating to do if you're going to go out on the road. Man,
there's security checks. There's security and there's obviously cameras, but then there's bed checks too. So, I know of people who put like things in their bed like you would see on movies and whatnot, like fake heads and pillows and stuff, anything. I know guys that would, got caught with having people in their rooms supposed to be no names shall be used.
No names necessary.
No, incriminated. But yeah, people been caught with girls in their rooms they ain't supposed to have, and that was a big one too.
Yeah.
You definitely not supposed to have anybody in your room, whether it couldn't even be your wife.
No, there's
supposed nobody. It's just you. You know what I mean?
You had a great run in Chicago. Obviously, you guys went to the Super Bowl, ended up playing with the Lions as well. But you're back here. You live here now with your family. You live in the same house. Kids go to school where you coach football. So something had to bring you back to Chicago. For the time you spent in Chicago, it did something to you and made you feel like this is where you wanted to be. What brought you back here and made you feel like this is where I should be? This is where I want to raise my kids. I want my family to be. Like, this is the city for me.
Well, my kids were born here, I've been, married since I was well, not in college. My wife and I have been together since college and been married since 2004. Um, so before I got to the league. Um, but Saturday Place is my charitable organization
Yeah.
that I founded way back in 2009, and 2010 was our first year in operation. So it's been 16, 17 years since we've been doing what we do. Saturday Place is an enrichment program for third and fourth grade Chicago public school students who are performing a year below grade level.
Mhm.
And so one of the things when I first got here, the Bears are very big in the community and they give back a lot. And so
Right.
we all had to do like community service and things of that nature. And so we were doing some tutoring at the YMCA one year. I forget which one it was here in Chicago, but we were tutoring kids and I was kind of like I was saddened, frustrated, angered by the state of their like reading abilities.
Mhm.
Right, because I'm from the hood. Like I'm poor kid from South Central LA, roaches and mice and all kind of shit. Like I'm a county like welfare kid, all of that stuff. But I could read
Mhm.
like at a
Yeah.
very young age. Like, I was relatively educated, smart, things of that nature. And so when I saw that, it made me want to do something for the community. And then someone said something that made it s- really stick into my head, right? And so we started talking and talking about, people's lives and community and whatnot. And so the person made the statement, it was like, not only that, Rashied, some of these kids have never seen the lake. And I said, what lake? They're like, Lake Michigan. I'm like, you mean that big ass lake right out there?
Next door.
That
Yeah.
one that, and they said, not only that, their parents and grandparents, some of them have never seen the lake. I said, you gotta be shitting me. Because I grew up in LA and where LA proper is nowhere near a beach. But I've been to the beach.
Right.
Like we rode our bikes to the beach. From where I grew up in LA all the way to Venice Beach is a long hike. I rode my bike to Venice Beach and it was an all-day trek. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
all day back. But like we found our way to the water.
Yeah.
And so when someone said that, it struck something in me. And so I wanted to do something myself. My wife and I wanted to do something ourselves to sort of give back to the city of Chicago for what giving me an opportunity when no one else would.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
But well, you're a coach too.
yeah, so this was before I'll finish with Saturday Place. So we started Saturday Place with money out of our own pocket, nobody helped, whatnot. And then the reason I stayed was because the people that committed, board members who are still part of Saturday Place to this day, had committed to my dream of giving back to the city. And it just didn't feel right to me to just get up and leave and abandon what we started because I was no longer playing for the Bears.
Mhm.
And so that's initially what kept me here. And as my kids got older and whatnot, we decided to stay around. And then I started volunteering at the high school. Um, initially because my therapist, yes, I have a therapist, crazy
We
football
know.
player.
Me too.
Yeah. So uh partially because they suggested that I start doing something and whatnot, and so I started coaching and kind of fell in love because I never thought I wanted to coach at the high school level, especially. And then I started coaching these kids and giving back what was given to me.
Mhm.
And my philosophy is self society, right? We all have a responsibility to ourselves first, because our lives are our responsibilities. There's nobody else's, right? So
Right.
no matter that my father was killed when I was 8 years old, drugs, gangs, violence, everything that I've been through in my life, no matter what has happened, I'm responsible. So self efficacy is big for me, like making sure that I do what's necessary for me to to achieve what I want to achieve. It's up to me to do it. Like I can't blame anything and anyone else. So when I started going to church, there's a scripture that says, how do I want to say this? Uh,
You said it's a scripture?
Yeah, when you stand before God, there's the parable of the talents, where when I stand before God, and He asked me, Rashied, what did you do with the talents that I've given you?
Mhm.
I want Him to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Like it's me.
Right.
And whatever I was given, I did the best to multiply what I was given. So that's where Saturday Place comes from, and that's why I stayed here. And so I try to pass that along to my family
Give back to
members, to give back to the city, the people. And if you want to look at we have a website, SaturdayPlace.org.
Absolutely.
And that's my passion project, and that's what keeps me here and has kept me here. I'm on the board of another charitable organization called Hire 360, which is focusing on breaking down barriers to entry in the construction world as well. So,
Rashied, we appreciate you coming on
Yes, sir.
Untold Chicago, sharing some of these stories with us. It's been incredible information. But if you had one message, one thing, anything you wanted to say, not just from kids that grew up in your situation in LA, guns, drugs, a lot of individuals are dealing with that here in Chicago. So if you had a message you could pass along really to our next generation of young people in Chicago, what would you have to say?
You know what? I'll go back to that self society piece. I think no matter what goes on in your life, all of us are going through something. Like I said, my father was killed when I was 8 years old. I grew up in some of the roughest circumstances that, an American can sort of deal with in his life. But that being said, my life hinged on the fact that I realized it was my responsibility and not my mom's or anyone else's, and that no matter what, I had to figure it out. No matter what I did, I had to figure out what I needed to do and what I could do to be successful. So I'll say that, and then the other part is this: like, your life will begin when you get on the other side of fear, right? Like, a lot of people think fear is this. I don't even want to say it like fear is not an illusion. It's real, very real to a lot of people. But courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to go through fear, and no matter how scared you may feel about what's going to happen next or where you're going to go, if you keep just marching forward, you will eventually get through that wall, that illusion of a wall that fear is put in front of you. Absolutely. Whether you got to go over it or around it, under it, however you get there, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other and you keep doing the right things and you're doing them with righteous purpose or whatnot, you will have success in whatever that thing is you do. So believe in yourself. Understand it's your responsibility to achieve whatever you want to achieve, and fuck fear, fight through it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Most people quit before the turn. They get to that point to where it gets really, really hard, and it makes them fearful, and they turn back. Like the Bible says, they turn into a pillar of salt. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And so don't be that person. When fear hits, that is a sign that you might be you're going the right direction.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So there's a pastor that says it this way. His name is Erwin McManus. And he said, never let fear establish the boundaries of your journey. And so as long as you don't do that and you keep pushing through, then you will succeed at whatever it is. It may not look exactly the way that you dreamed it or exactly the way that you wanted to, but something good will come from it if it's largely good on the other end.
Absolutely. My man, I appreciate.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate.
Yes, sir. Untold, I like it.
Untold Chicago appreciates. This is Rashied Davis, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.